Hello, today we're taking a look at the SwaFan reversible fan series. One fan to rule them all, one fan to do it all, and one fan to guide them. I'm making a joke to the Lord of the Rings, of course, because it's one fan that's supposed to be able to do it all. So I wanted to do like a quick image comparisons. We got the SwaFan's various blade designs compared to the ToughFan 12 Pro and the ToughFan regular 12, where the blades are similar but yet different than that blade design. So they created their own custom one for this fan series. A little spec information. We have the noise levels for the pressure, the airflow, and the reverse. The CFMs, noise levels, air pressure, they all have the same hydraulic bearing. Before we get into the data, I would like to thank Mint Mobile for being today's video partner. Thanks to Mint Mobile's wireless plans, it is possible to not only switch away from big, expensive mobile companies, but to also have a quality, affordable plan for me and my family. Mint Mobile's premium wireless plan starts at just $15 a month for a 3-month plan. I can get high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. I can bring my own phone along and my current phone number, so you don't need to memorize a new phone number, something I have always found difficult. Switching to Mint is super easy thanks to digital eSIM cards, which most phones have. You can sign up and activate immediately right from your own phone from the comfort of your own home. If your phone doesn't have a digital eSIM card, Mint will ship you a new SIM card free of charge. And right now, new customers, Mint Mobile is offering 50% off their first 12 months of unlimited plan. It's the best deal of the year and only available a limited time. If you're interested in learning more about Mint Mobile and switching, visit my link or by clicking the link in the video description down below. So the first test is the case simulation test. I've put all three onto one graph, but they all read in the same sort of sense, where I took 4 key measurement locations, the 6, the 9, the 11, and the 14.5 inch mark. The 6 mark is representative of a short throw distance, like blowing air from the bottom of your case up towards your GPU, or of a truly small form factor case, mini ITX motherboard only, for that front to back airflow type design. Then we have the 9 inch mark. The 9 inch mark is your compact tower cases. So a case that can hold a ATX motherboard, but no real extra room around it. Think 220mm class fans. Then we have the 11 inch mark. The 11 inch mark is your standard mid towers, 320mm class fans, or standard 360 AIO. And the 14.5 inch mark, which is truly large towers, 340mm class fans. So depending on what size computer case you plan to buy or you already own and you plan on sticking these fans into, you want to pay attention to that data point because that will be what you want to focus on. And we have the pressure, the airflow fan, and the reverse. So putting it all onto one graph, noise normalized results versus my control fan here in this teal line. The control fan is base 3 parts A12X25 to 1 part A14, blending them together to create a composite idealized fan, at least by my standards. So the airflow fan actually performed the worst in my testing for noise normalized tests. The reverse one did sort of, well, it gained airspeed at the 9 inch mark. It just means that it's whatever volume it was filling, it reached its peak level and then it steadied out, so the airflow pattern actually improved. It didn't actually start blowing air faster. And the regular pressure series lined up about equal to the reverse blade, except did better at the 6 and the 9 inch mark. And on here I also have the ToughFan 12, which was significantly better than the SwaFans. At 100% PWM fan ceiling, they're all much, much closer. The ToughFan 12 is still better, with the pressure fan lining up very closely with my control, and the reverse blade green line kind of falling behind. The airflow one finally starting to catch up but overall it's not a truly impressive result. Comparing against other fans that I consider to be pretty good, we got the A12X25 in here as just a key notable note. And I mean, the pressure one would be the one most considering than the reverse blade, but they're just sitting a bit below the better fans. And the airflow one, it just did really bad. At 100% peed on fan signaling, they're still underperforming a ways compared to this better grouping of fans. And no, I just didn't pick all 3,000 RPM fans. There are several 2,000-ish RPM fans in here as key data points. Just the SwaFans are underperforming overall. Case simulation test, 9-inch mark in airspeed versus decibel rating. And it's pretty clear they're not bottom of the barrel fans, like being really loud, but they're also not part of this upper grouping. They just make a little bit too much noise to be in that consideration.
SwaFan pressure fan. SwaFan airflow fan. SwaFan reverse blade.
One of them, it comes with this lube, as we're going to call it, and of course the different fan blades. So first things first, how do you swap out the fan blades? Well, you flip it so that you see the back of the frame. You want to get your thumbs close to the middle. If you're pushing from the edges, it could actually snap the blades. That's where they're going to be the weakest and cause the most stress. So you put your fingers right in the middle and you give an even push down. Now, for best results, you do want to apply lube every time you swap, and because this isn't a sealed system, you may actually need to lube this fan up periodically. It's just funny saying lube right now. Periodically, while other fans are a sealed system, so no dust or crap can get in there. So that might also be a concern with this, where gunk could build up in there. I have no idea how you would clean that out, but that is just a condition with buying this type of fan, and a lubricant does wear out over time. To apply the lube, I found the easiest way, so you need to unscrew the cap, and if you're like a doctor or anything, you get it in there and then you squeeze, and you can either put it on the post, but I found it was kind of easier just to put a dot right in the hole, and then you put the fan right in and it smushes it into place, and you don't want to use that much. Otherwise, it could actually cause more friction in there. Too much lube is actually a problem, and not enough lube can be a problem. And I would say you do want to, yeah, like I said earlier, lube every time you switch out one of the fan blades, and you put it in and then you give it a firm pat down. Let's just do that now. And you hear that click. Switch it out again. Boom. And then the reverse one is actually kind of funny. So I'm not going to push this one all the way down. So there we go. Lined up into place. Because it arcs the wrong way, so it's a little bit weirder to push out. But the magnets in there actually hold it in place. So even though it feels like it could just spin like this, you do want to make sure to fully compress it. So, like, can I can I get that? So I don't know if you can see that on camera where it's just sort of locking itself in. So the magnets are strong, they hold it into place, which is good. You don't want it falling out, so let's say you just decide willy-nilly you want to pull out a fan and swap out its blade design. Look at the frame. The frame looks very much like the ToughFan 12 Turbo and regular, not the Pro. Did I say Pro? ToughFan 12 and ToughFan 12 Turbo, not the Pro. It's just very similar overall with its aesthetic. And I have a couple issues with this overall design. Now, it should in theory, create a fairly nice seal between one fan and the other, but these gaps right here will have a tendency to let air escape out the sides. So it's not as good a pressure seal as it otherwise could be, which is a disadvantage for this fan. There's performance being left on the table, even if it's only a couple percent. And kind of interesting here, it gives us an inner look at the fan itself. So it's got 4 poles on the motor. A big fixed magnet right on the outside. And I guess there isn't really much else to talk about other than, you know, the hub goes in. And you do want to keep from touching that. You want as little grease, human grease, and oils and hairs and anything like that, because it'll gunk it up and slow down these fans. And again, too much grease inside of it will slow down the fan itself, so you just really want like a dot. And, you know, we can put each of the difference in there and you can get an idea of what it looks like. So this isn't what you'll see. This is what you'd see on the front of your case. This is what you'd see on the inside. And when we switch it to the reverse fan, this is then what you'd see on the inside of your case, and this is what you'd see on the outside. So the reverse is actually kind of cool for a aesthetic perspective, and it does cost you a little bit in performance depending on your application, which we saw in the rest of the analysis. And generally speaking, it's easier for a fan to generate pressure than it is to generate negative pressure, which is effectively what you're doing, so to draw air into it. So an obstruction reduces the surface area for it to draw in air, even though it's maximized how much area it can push out, which is why you get that reduction in performance. So it's easier for it to have a large area to suck in air and then basically force the air past the struts than the other way around, if that makes sense. Now we have performance through my CPU air cooler. At this time, I'd like to thank my YouTube and Patreon members. You guys have been awesome. And I was recently able to purchase a radiator to start doing that type of testing. Unfortunately, I don't have a test system or a pump reservoir and linking system for the softline tubing, so I would want quick disconnect type system. So if you got suggestions, or I plan on hitting up Reddit sometime soonish to create a basic custom loop, I could potentially be interested. But that is future growth stuff, and I hope that if you have the monetary means, you'd think about supporting this channel, because I am completely independent. All these fans are purchased by me, and I've only recently been able to start getting a few fans from manufacturers that would like me to review them. So back to the regularly scheduled program. We got airspeed versus RPM, and they all pretty much line up pretty closely against my control fan in terms of the blade efficiency. How about in terms of noise efficiency? Well, they're all bouncing right around the control fan. Overall, I would say that the airflow one is a bit underperforming, but all of them are doing just fine, honestly. Compared against a wider array of fans, the pressure one is doing the best. That's a good thing, because if the pressure fan was performing worse than the airflow one, I'd have to call up ThermalTake and tell them that their engineers messed up real bad. Of course, they wouldn't listen to me. But anyways, the reverse blade is second best, followed by the airflow in terms of their rankings. At 100% PW fan signaling, well, the airflow became the best. Well, that's what happened when I tested it. Not that I would put the airflow one on there. It's near on functional equivalence to the other ones. It's not that much higher. And well, the reverse blade actually beat out the pressure one. So this was full of funny results, wasn't it? But yeah, let's move on. So we got airspeed versus decibel rating, and we can see that the pressure one actually starts off better than the other two ones, and actually its progression is much more streamlined, while the airflow one is underperforming, and then it must hit some kind of efficiency with brute force airflow going through it, and it comes out pretty well overall. And the airflow pattern actually lines up almost identical to the pressure one. The reverse blade generally follows a little bit better than the airflow one until you start hitting those higher noise levels, and then it tends to fall behind. And on here we have some of the better fans, and the SwaFans are okay. They're not bad, but they're, again, just a little bit better options out there if you would like it. Now we're on to CFM testing. It's kind of my least favorite type of test because it's basically a scientific exercise, because most computer cases don't operate as a heat exchanger. So CFM testing is you got a fan, you got a tube, you blow air down the tube, and you take an airspeed reading, and because you know the diameter radius of the tube, you can measure surface area and get cubic feet per minute. Some fans do really well in this test, so, like what I'd expect. Other fans do really bad, and it's not explained why. And the reverse blade is a fan that did really badly on this test, and I can't explain why it did so badly. It's why I'd like help from viewers like you to be able to help fund this channel a little bit so that I can purchase more high quality testing equipment or have it made for me. Nothing too crazy expensive. It would just be the next level I'm looking at around $2,000 worth of funding I would need to get a little bit better stuff. But anyways, the airflow and the pressure one line up very closely with my control fan in terms of that noise versus CFM. They are doing a bit worse than my control fan when we take a look at how they compare against other fans around them. Well, the reverse blade obviously is detrimental, so let's ignore that one. The airflow and the pressure are doing okay. The airflow is about middle of the pack. The pressure is a bit above middle of the pack, but there are better options out there if you want a bit better airflow. At 100% feet on fan ceiling, while the airflow and the pressure basically are sitting bottom middle of the pack. Not a bad place to be, especially considering their RPM. If you take a look at other fans around them that have similar RPMs, they're doing really quite well actually overall, and not too particularly noisy at that airspeed as well. Charting it into a graph, the reverse is at the bottom, ignore that one. The pressure one, doing pretty well overall. Again, there are a little bit better choices out there, but not significantly in this test. And the airflow one isn't too far behind the pressure. So that's a great result for that airflow version. Now we're on to value. So it's kind of funny to analyze value for this fan because in effect, you're getting 3 fan blades while buying 1 fan hub. So you can't use 3 fan blades simultaneously with 1 hub. So it makes it difficult to really analyze it without you just analyze each blade individually. This is a more expensive fan at $30 for 1 fan with 3 blades. So you do need to think about where you want to spend your money, because that part is really up to you. I'm just here to present the data. This is performance per dollar, not raw performance. So you have to take everything here with a little bit of grain of salt. If you're looking for the best bang for the buck, you're just trying to fill out your PC cases, you want to look at the better fans that have the highest ranking on here. Otherwise, you have to weigh the other factors and think about the design. This also ignores things like bearing design, air bearing quality, RGB lighting, aesthetics, anything like that. It is just basic performance. So the reverse blades, or the SwaFan GT 6-inch mark, noise normalized, really isn't that great at 100%, still really isn't that great value. Going to the 11-inch mark, still not really a great value. CFM testing, it's an expensive fan, not a great value. Through the cooler, it's an expensive fan, it's not a great value. So I'm going to do a kind of brief caption conclusion now. I think the fan is cool. I like being able to take it off. Makes it really easy to clean. I do worry about debris getting into the center of that hub when the pin is out. But overall, I really love the concept. The problem is that the price is justified because they needed to do the engineering. They put 3 fan blades into it. But in all likelihood, the bearing is going to wear out before you ever swap out any of these fan blades. ThermalTake should have just made 3 versions of the exact same fan, and then you choose whichever one you want, because most people are not going to swap it in and out whenever they feel like it. They're going to put one in and be one and done, and the other fan blades are going to go into storage somewhere. So it is just a little bit hard to justify, especially with ThermalTake not being as well renowned for their bearing quality as someone like Noctua. If Noctua came out with this sort of thing, I'd be a little bit more trusting of it potentially. So I guess there's that. That is just my general opinion on it. All right, this is the raw data. This raw data does belong to me. If you wish to use it for your own personal use, you may go ahead and do so. If you're going to use it in any sort of monetary sense, so publications, journals, whatever, I do ask that you reference me and my channel. After all, I am the one who generated the data. If you got suggestions on ways I can improve my videos, I'm always trying to improve them. This data set for this video is a little bit of an older format. The data is still perfectly valid, just the way I made graphs and stuff like that is a little bit on the older side. I'm just trying to get these older videos out because I have a whole new testing methodology, not testing methodology, graph presentation methodology coming forward. If you like the general idea of what I'm doing with these videos and would like to support me, becoming a Patreon or YouTube member really does go a long way. Sending a super, just hitting that subscribe button really does help this channel grow. So thank you very much. And with that, thank you for watching my video. Have a great day and hope to see you next time here on Computer Tech and More.